December 27th, 2024 is Laylat al-Miraj, or the holiday of the rise of Prophet Muhammad to heaven for one night, riding this fantastical creature called the Burak. So I think this is a good day to talk about this issue. This Portuguese communication company made this ad, and of course people would make a big deal out of it, positively or negatively. Some will complain that it is woke for those who actually know how to use English expressions. Most Portuguese don't actually understand, but we know that current politics, either left-wing or right-wing, it's about translating into slang English or French terminology. Complain that it is Islamic or multicultural or both propaganda, which can be both because it can either be pro-multicultural or for a specific religion, but well, you need boogeymen, so you can say they are Muslim, communist, multiculturalist, liberal, Buddhist, and non-white, anything we don't like, but okay, whatever. For the most part, I just find the ad annoying after a couple of viewings, that it is pretty much as sappy as any more conventional Christmas ad. And the moment you watch it one time, it stops being kinda cute. Okay, that's very annoying. Stop already. Is it the 12th night already, so we can end this? Oh god, not yet. This doesn't bother me. It clearly has a slant, but a lot of things have slants. At the end of the day, it is a Christmas ad. You complain about Christian maturity and to complain that it's still something Christmas-centric and that it is showing the Muslims partaking in the school's Christmas celebration. Especially if you see some diversity in the school, you start saying, "This is the diverse school and why is there always terrorists here?" So yeah, the hardcore left would complain about this shit. Yeah, I see some bias and almost seeming that the Western parents are almost have the law liking the Muslim parents of her friend more. At the end of the day, this is just about those who are different being very friendly to each other, and the Muslim families portrayed as relatively moderate in as much that the adult woman wears a hijab, but the girl only wears it sometimes and even appears to use it less time. You can assume that it might be something that with age they would insist on wearing it all the time, or that they might be more lenient on that at all, because some people insist on girls covering their hair from very early, which most Muslim families don't. It might just be that the woman is particularly religious, and as the grandson of a woman who covers her hair, especially to pray, but also pretty much all the time, I don't see the big deal. Long as she's not being forced and not forcing that on anyone else. At the end of the day, this commercial is kinda about something I defend. Two-way syncretism. The only way for a diverse society to work is if, although there is one law and one citizenship, if I am allowed to go a little Boris Johnson, is it in the Roman way, although there is one law, one citizenship, that the diversity is handled not so much in the vague, very unpractical theories of multiculturalism that go around today, nor with an unpractical impulse or expulsion and imposed one culture, but if the diversity is for most of the population not something pure, but something in which plenty of assimilation from elements from the other side are included. Same way that the Romans worshipped the gods of the people that conquered, and their local variations of Latin assimilated parts of the languages of the people they conquered, or the peoples that migrated to their controlled lands. One has to notice that if the white girl that gets along with the Muslim one gets hijab curious, on the other hand, the Muslim one apparently already is all in on Christmas. So everyone is kinda assimilating, and unlike the Yule spirit of the Muslim girl, the hijab is just a phase. You can rant all you want that this is propaganda to try to Islamize girl, but the fact is, this kind of getting along with different people and then you start assimilating things of them. This isn't propaganda. This happens. How do you think all those kind of fundamentalists and weirdly also kind of wokish white Muslim chicks appear? Because they are raised by parents who don't really pass them a good role model of civilization and faith, and they feel hollow inside and they go look for it elsewhere. This isn't a fiction that is being forced on people. This is reality, and that's the point of this, that the parents were failing on some things, and then they kind of make peace with their daughter, and then with her unusual, out of their civilization friends, then they get along. I just wish I could do it without hammering in a little impression of the parents being that bothered by it. Just play it like a light comedic scene in which they notice their daughter and then look at her with weird bugged eyes instead of overly serious conversation. And that they don't hammer in so much that the girl almost seems to like some family more if the parents, apparently just for traffic's fault, arrive late. There's relatively minor issues. This is just curiosity that kids have about people doing different things and wanting to try them too. She's not exactly going in on the religious side of it. It really is just an aesthetic choice. Because she's still all in on Christmas and baby Jesus. And they could have also made it with less dramatic music and way more relaxed, but we're just not in an age of subtlety in whatever political leaning. It's ironic that the people who are bitching about this are the people who are like the people they are bitching about, who wouldn't let the minorities of their country keep their rights and be accepted into the mold. Basically, we have the Christian equivalent of the Taliban and Daesh complaining about the fact that they're opening way, or that the inclusive people on their side are letting the Taliban and Daesh in. Some days ago I shared a propaganda play from a minor Turkish political party, which some years back had Pentecost being chased by an Ottoman Janissary elite soldier and being led before an Islamic judge and learning the error of his ways and converting. This is a reference to the fact that due to westernized influence, in Turkey you can find Western calendar, not Islamic calendar, New Year parties, and you can find mall centers. And a country which is about 99% Muslim is terrified of its 1% of people and terrified of people who they consider not truly Islamic and afraid of being subverted by them. At the end of the day, this is as stupid as people complaining about this. And that's the problem, that our political discussions are focusing on nitpicky shit, on people complaining, on being offended about things. The left-wing people are doing it, the right-wing people are doing it, the Muslims are doing it, the Christians are doing it, the Hindus are complaining about a whole bunch of people called making movies, the Jews complain on something, the Buddhists complain on whatever. You feel threatened by this, or by the fact the police just symbolically to pretend to make service and to with the compliance of the people of the neighborhood, that unlike white lefties don't even file complaints about it, just to show that there is some law in the neighborhood where there actually is some occasional lack of safety and crime and from compliance, and that there is some sort of social collaboration, which is about as serious as a form of violence, school initiation. Not that this hadn't happened before, but that was the palest pink government, so it doesn't count. Or if you feel threatened by the undertones of Legend of Zelda, or by Santa Claus, or by a white chick and brown Muslim chick being silly together, or playing Hindus in films, you are a raging cuck, because you don't need to be a milquetoast to be a cuck. If your country is about 90-something% of your faith, and only your holidays get the spotlight, and your holidays are everywhere, and then you complain that you can't have two kids being silly, or if someone celebrating the New Year on the calendar of the Westerners, or mall centers existing, you're an insufferable who happens to be raging instead of milquetoast. I know this kind of thing rushes your fantasy, then you clean up the difference eventually and make everything about 100% monochrome as it was before, but you are filling your greenhouses with Indian subcontinent people, you fucking hypocrite. Our politics are getting guided by angry cucks who get threatened by the tiniest pop culture nothings. And don't know about you, but I get tired of this. This set is just mildly heavy-handed and somewhat annoying after first viewing. It's alright. And if your daughter is being Islamized by this, then you are failing. Educate them and pass them an alternative view. It's not the ad's fault. And have the rest of a good Christmas time. Have have a good Vaiva Talmirar or Happy Hanukkah or Posh Parbon or Winter Makar Sankranti or nothing or whatever. There's nothing more hilarious than your being all about celebrating a Western holiday, the birthday of Jesus. December 27 is also normally identified as the day St. John the Apostle and Evangelist, who is most often identified as the disciple loved by Jesus. So let's wait that maybe all of us will be disciple loved today.